Hi guys, today we're going to start with a third-person template from the Unreal Engine templates. We've already done quite a lot with the first-person template, so let's go with third-person now. So if you launch Unreal Engine, it should allow you to select a new template, and that's the template that you're going to be using for the assignment anyway, which you should have started quite a while ago, since the deadline is quite soon. But if you haven't for some reason, then this is the process. You go to games. We've already done this in one of the lectures in semester 1. But if you can't find it for some reason, then you can do it here, games, next, third person, there we go, next. And we're going to use blueprints. Quality is up to you. Everything else is fine. Do select with starter content because we already explored it to some extent, so we kind of know what things are there. The project name could be anything, something like coursework. So for today, since this is just the first time we're going to go into the third-person template, what I'd like to do is get rid of some of the things that we don't really need, and then maybe add a basic level of sorts, like where you can collect something and then the level is over. First of all, let's get rid of that thing, which is the tutorial. You can follow it if you want. It will give you some ideas on how you can extend this as well. This text we don't need either. Actually, everything else is more or less fine. So if you start the game, you can climb up this thing, and that's pretty much it. So you can go up the stairs and then maybe select collide with something over here that will allow us to finish this level. So what we're going to do is create a few blueprints. Let's go to blueprints. It's in the content browser. You should be able to find third-person BP, then blueprints, and you only have 2 things. Let's create. Actually, why don't we use something from the starter content, since it's already here anyway. So let's go to starter content. Props. Should be able to see all the basic stuff that gets imported with the starter content. So let's pick something that looks like an end of level, maybe a rock. So we collide with this thing and the game's over. Maybe let's just move it over here. Maybe that thing, statue. Yeah, let's go with that. So this is going to be our prize, the treasure or whatever it is that you select at the end of the level, collide with at the end of the level, and the level finishes. If you go to materials, you should be able to see element 0 in there. Let's just change this to something else. Maybe something like this, or water lake. Nice. It's pretty good. Let's keep it. The materials don't really matter for our purposes, but this looks okay. So let's use that, although we shouldn't probably change it within the starter content prop. So let's go back. There must be a default. There we go. Yeah, so if you click on this arrow looking thing, it allows you to reset to default. So reset this thing to default, click on the blueprint add script. It should convert it to blueprint. The defaults are fine. Let's rename. First of all, let's select where we're going to add this. We're going to add it to third-person BP and blueprints. The name of this thing is going to be prize. And then select. So we got a blueprint out of it, which is the third blueprint now in your blueprints directory. This prize, you can select the static mesh component to change this thing back to water lake. So this is what it looks like now. It's going to be collidable, so let's change the collisions. Generate overlap events set to true, and collision presets overlap all. So we can collide with it, get an event, and do something with that event. Compile, save, and let's go to the event graph. Event begin play we don't probably need. We'll see. After begin overlap, this is where the collision happens. So how about we just print something to the screen? Print string hello. Hello is fine. Compile, save. Let's play. There is a rock just floating there. So we collide with it. It says hello. That's fine. You may wish to check that the other actor is actually the player. The player in this level is called third-person character. So if you want to check that, that's fine. Maybe we want to turn this into a puzzle type game, in which case we could say something like time, like the amount of time the player took to complete the game. So how about we get, what is it, real something, real time? Get real time seconds. Yeah, let's go with that. Is it? Yeah, it's a float. So we need to convert that to a string, and then also maybe print something like level complete. So we're going to make a string, make literal a string. The text there should be something like level complete, and then put a space, because we're going to then concatenate with this thing. Concatenation means adding two strings together. So if we then turn this thing into a string, and then append, I think, yeah, append, with the result being set to the print string. Compile, save, let's check this. So we collide with it, it says level complete, and it then prints the time in seconds since the start of the game, I think. Since world was brought up for play. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, so we've got the level end bit, which is like, you know, you could make this a really easy first level that just tell the player they need to go up to this thing, collide with it, and the level is complete. We can make this a bit more interesting though. So suppose there is a pressure plate somewhere, which will then activate well, when the player collides with it, and then in turn activate something else like our prize. What we could do is make the prize non-existent, like invisible and non-collidable. And then when we activate the pressure plate, it will appear. How about that? We could also make the prize like do something on event tick, like the usual stuff that we did earlier, like just changing the rotation. How about that? Add rotation, add actor local rotation. Now let's do that. Which axis do we want? So up is Z in this engine, so we need to change this value. Let's go with 1. and then we'll see how big one actually is. I don't think we need anything else actually. Compile, save. Is it doing anything? Oh, it's static. It's saying we can't move it. What if it's movable now? And then maybe change this to something bigger, like 3. Yeah, so this is our prize now. Looks alright. We need to make this inactive somehow. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of it rotating, because we won't be able to see it if we want to make it kind of non-existent to the player. Like the player doesn't see the prize until the very end. I suppose we could still make it work. Like, we're going to hide it and then have a pressure plate somewhere here where when we collide with it, it activates the prize, and then between us activating the plate and collecting the prize, there's still some time so the player can actually see the animation. That's fine. Yeah, so prize, let's add a variable, is active. Is active is going to be billion. Yep. Compile. By default, it's false, which means that using event tick, we're going to listen changes in here, get is active, and then we are going to hide it. Visible, set visible, set actor hidden in game. Okay, let's go with that. This is going to call that, and this is going to call that. The order doesn't matter, I suppose. Is active. If we are active, we don't want to hide it, so we need to flip this to not. If you type not, it will allow you to flip the billion, and that goes into hidden. So if not active, hide, and then rotate regardless. File, save, check. Yeah, we can't see it. Good. And we also probably don't want to now collide with it as well. So we're going to use is active. Control C, Control V should do it. And then we need a branch over here. I'm going a bit quicker than usual because we've already done this thing before. So in terms of branches, variables, and stuff like that. So if is active, true, then call this. This is basically our end game type thing. Otherwise, don't do anything. Yep, that's fine. So when we go over here, nothing should happen because there's nothing there. The player doesn't know. Now, onto the pressure plate thing. Right click, new blueprint class, actor, call it pressure plate. It's going to be basically a cube. So add component, cube, let's make it smaller. No, I still need it to be smaller. 005, how about that? And then maybe change the material to something else. Floor. Cobblestone smooth. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, that'll do. That'll work. Right, compile save. Shall we bring this into the level? Yeah, that looks like a pressure plate. And then, oh, we can even potentially animate it. Like if we change, wait, what? Okay, Unreal Engine just crashed. Close without sending. Can I reopen it though? This is why you need to save often. Although this is probably one of the rare occasions where it actually crashed. Do I have the blueprints though? Okay, that's fine. So it's just the level that crashed. We can really easily get it back. So we got everything else in here. Let's just drag the prize over here. And let's drag our pressure plate over here and then save current level to make sure nothing is lost. Yeah, so that's making a good point in terms of saving often. Right, so we got our pressure plate, we got our prize thing. Let's open the pressure plate blueprint. What do we want to do? Begin overlap. Okay, so we need some kind of an internal state, right? Is pressed. It's a Boolean variable, it's instance editable, I guess. Compile save, by default it's false, because we want to set it to true when we collide with it. So how about actor begin overlap, maybe also cast, so other actor, cast to third person character, so that it's only going to trigger when it's the player who is colliding with our pressure plate. And then we are going to set is pressed to true. Event tick not needed, begin play not needed. Compile save current level, and well, we can't really test it because it does nothing. So how about we are going, let's add, so prize, let's add a variable which is going to store the pressure plate. Pressure plate, instance editable, and the type is going to be pressure plate. Object reference, compile, save, go back to the editor, select your prize, which is that thing over there, find the default menu tab thing section, select pressure plate from the level, because there's only one, which is that one, and now it has a reference to that. So what we can do is event tick, we're going to extend that even further. We're going to set is active based on the pressure plate. Pressure plate, just drag it over here and I'll allow you to get pressure plate. From that we can obtain is pressed. Using is pressed, we're going to then set is active. It's going to call this, which is going to call that. That looks fine. Compile, save, So each tick, we're going to essentially check the state of the pressure plate. If it is pressed, we're going to set it to active, the price to active. And if it's false, then it does nothing. Well, it sets it to false, which is the default anyway. There's nothing here. We collide with the pressure plate. There's still nothing there. Did we actually set it to collidable? Pressure plate, cube, physics, collision, generate overlap events, and overlap all. Compile, save. There we go. So we collide with it. It triggers its own internal state to be is pressed, which is then set to this thing, which changes the is active variable value of the prize, which in turn sets the visibility as well as the ability to collide with it. So now if I collide with it, it will say level complete and print the time. How about we also get rid of the prize? Because once you collide with it, that should be it. And that will complete this video as well. So prize, so this is where we know we collided with it, right? In which case, true, just extend true to destroy. Destroy actor. There we go. Yeah, destroy itself, and then print. Compile, save, save current. I think this is the last modification to this thing. Pressure plate. Collect. It gets destroyed, level complete, and all done. So in this video, we looked at, well, we started with the third-person template. We added 2 blueprints. One is prize, the thing that we're going to collect at the end of the level to win the level, and then a pressure plate mechanic, which we only partially implemented because, you know, generally in games you have also the ability to step out of the pressure plate, in which case its internal state should be set to false. We haven't done that just yet. And essentially that was it for today's video. We just looked at some collision basics, which we already did a while ago. So it's more of a recap, if you will. Now, in the following few videos, we'll probably try and make this even more complex. So we might turn this into puzzle type demo where we have multiple things that need to be interacted with in order for the prize to appear and then to finish the level. On that note, thanks for watching.